Welcome to How to Get Well, a workshop on wellness and health restoration by Dr. Bradley Nelson, D.C. I am Dr. Bradley Nelson. I'm a holistic chiropractic physician, a pioneer in holistic healthcare. I've developed a method of healing called the Body Code Healing System. I'm an author of the recent book, The Emotion Code, and a national speaker and lecturer on alternative healthcare methods. Before we get started, let me share my favorite quote with you by Thomas Edison. He said, "The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease." Well, we're not quite there yet, but we are moving in that direction. Using completely natural methods, I have been successful in treating ADD, ADHD, asthma, allergies, back pain, Bell's palsy, carpal tunnel, chronic fatigue, depression, fibromyalgia, headaches, herniated discs, hip pain, infertility, lack of energy, knee pain, learning disabilities, lupus, migraines, neck pain, shoulder pain, sinus problems, vertigo, and hiatal hernia or GERD. Some of the things that you see here, like fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, are not supposed to be curable. But when I was in a brick and mortar practice up until about 4 years ago, I was seeing people from around the United States, and we were successfully treating people with these problems. The purpose of our lecture today is to help you understand how that can happen, to help you understand what the underlying causes of sickness and disease really are, and to explain how these causes can be corrected and how health can be restored naturally without drugs, and to show you how the body code is really the key to getting answers from the body. First of all, let's talk for a minute about the traditional approach to healing or to healthcare. The traditional approach as we know it was born on the battlefield in the Civil War and in the World Wars, and it was developed around an idea that I call heroic measures. Heroic measures means that you wait until there's a crisis that erupts and then you act. In other words, if you're a soldier in the Civil War, for example, and a cannonball comes bouncing along and it takes off your leg, well, you better hope that your doctor performs heroic measures on you or you're going to die. And that's how the traditional approach got started in the Civil War and in the World Wars. And so it focuses generally on external causes of disease, on dramatic intervention, like transplanting organs and things like that, and on the suppression of symptoms. Now, understand that all of these things are very appropriate at times. If you need surgery, you need surgery. If your leg suddenly gets taken off by a cannonball, well, you need heroic measures. You need surgical intervention. If you're in terrible pain, you need to suppress those symptoms with some kind of medication. The problem, though, is that in America, we are using this traditional approach for all of our healthcare problems, and it's not working. You have to ask yourself if health can come in a bottle. Our approach to health in America is drugs and surgery. Drugs are now the third leading cause of death. We spend more money than any other country per capita on healthcare, and yet it buys us a ranking among the least healthy countries in the world. I saw a cartoon recently that I want to share with you that gives an idea about what can happen when you're chasing symptoms like this. This is called The Last Alternative Laugh: Side Effects, or Who Says the Medical System Isn't Working. Susie went to her doctor with a cough, and he prescribed the antibiotic amoxicillin and said this will take care of it. As a side effect of the antibiotic, she got a lovely yeast infection, and so goes back to the doctor, and the doctor prescribes the antifungal drug diflucan and says this will take care of it. With her immune system depressed, Susie got depressed, and so her doctor prescribes the antidepressant Prozac and says this will take care of it. Well, like it does for others, the Prozac elevates Susie's blood pressure, so her doctor prescribes the anti-high blood pressure drug Captopril and says this will take care of it. As is not uncommon, Captopril gives Susie a cough. She goes back to the doctor and he prescribes the antibiotic amoxicillin and says this will take care of it. And so we're back to square one. Now, the end of this is that Susie felt lousy but lucky because her insurance paid for 90% of all these drugs, and isn't that the important thing? Do you see how twisted this is? But this actually goes on. And so the only people that are really happy about this kind of situation are the people who are making all the money from selling the drugs, okay, the drug companies. Well, let's talk about stress. Stress definitely does affect us, and it is one of the reasons why we lose our health. There was a man named Hans Selye who was a Nobel Prize nominee who studied stress, and he found that basically the easiest way to think about this is that if you imagine that your health is like a rubber band, okay, stress stretches the rubber band of your health. Stresses are things like infections, surgeries, traumas, allergies, immune reactions, severe exertions, emotional events, or poor diet. All of those things stretch that rubber band of your health. Now, some specific things happen when you're under stress. Let's imagine that you're walking out in the forest and all of a sudden a bear stands up and roars at you. Your body has some immediate reactions that go on. Your adrenal glands, which sit right on top of the kidneys, are these little glands that are the stress glands, basically, and they start immediately pumping out adrenaline and cortisol into your bloodstream. These have some specific actions on your body. They route the blood away from the organs in the body to your skeletal muscles, because basically you're either going to have to fight this bear or run away, or you're going to be eaten. And so we don't really need to be digesting your lunch right now, do we? Also, your immune system is lowered. We don't really need an immune system right now, do we? Because we're either going to be lunch or we're going to escape. And this is a life or death situation. So also your blood fat and your blood sugar become elevated because you need those things for fuel to fight the bear or run away. Well, the problem is these stress hormones are very damaging to the body, and they bathe your tissues for up to 24 hours, or up to 48 hours actually, after one stressful event. And they contribute to a loss of health, you see. And you might say, well, I don't really have any bears in my life, but the reality is the argument that you had with your husband or wife yesterday, the stress of going to work, the stress of having children, the stress of all the things that you face in your life, your body can't tell the difference between those and facing a bear. Stress opens the door for illness. It opens the door for things like infections and parasites and toxins and allergies and structural misalignments and energy field imbalances, nutritional deficiencies, and trapped emotions. And essentially, if you think about it, it's almost like if you stretch a rubber band too many times or you stretch it too far, you can snap that rubber band. That's what happens with your health. At some point, if you're sick now, you stretch that rubber band of your health too far or too many times and it's snapped. And that puts you into a state that we call distortion. If that state continues, okay, and you start to develop more and more imbalances, eventually you end up with some kind of a disease. Now that disease is really simply a manifestation of internal imbalance, okay? So you may manifest symptoms of pain, and they may be throughout the body, and you may go to a doctor and you say, I'm not just in a little bit of pain, I'm in a lot of pain and it's relentless and it's not going away. And the doctor may say, oh, well, we know what this is fibromyalgia, which means pain in the muscles. And you might say, oh, I'm so glad to know what this is. But what is it really? You knew already that it was pain in the muscles. Or your symptom may be primarily fatigue. And you may go to the doctor and you might say, I'm not just tired a little, I'm tired all the time. And it's not going away. And the doctor may say, well, we know what this is. This is chronic fatigue syndrome. And you might say, oh, I'm so glad to know what this is. But in reality, do you know what it is? What's really going on is that your body is manifesting the internal imbalance that is going on inside. And until you address those internal imbalances, things are not going to go away. Okay, that's all disease is. Remember that. Disease is simply a manifestation of a body that is imbalanced. Now, what I have found in practice is that there are 6 different ways that your body becomes imbalanced. And we're going to take a look in this little online workshop at these 6 different ways so I can explain to you how you can get well from just about anything if you can determine what these imbalances really are. And we'll come back to this in a minute.